Today's Yomi is Sanhedrin Daf Mem Test, Sanhedrin 49. Today's Yomi dedicated for Shemir for the Chayalim, Hatzalah for the Shvuyim, and Yeshua for Am Yisrael. In this Eis Terah, the Daf Yomi will start on Mem Test and Aleph on the second line. Gemara is discussing how Yoav was taken by Ben Hayahu to have him killed because of the orders of Shlomo HaMelech. And so the Gemara says that the reason why Yoav was killed was because he had killed for David. He had killed when he was under David. He had killed Avner. That Yoav had killed Avner, and also he had killed. Then in addition to that, he had killed Asael. So the Gemara starts this question on the top of Sanhedrin. My time a katalta Avner. Why was Avner killed? That the Gemara tells us on the top of. I'll go back one more line. Asyul Yoav Dayane. So Benayo brought Yoav to the Sanhedrin to judge him. He says, "Amroi, my time a katalta Avner." He said to Yoav, "Why did you kill Avner?" Amroi, go Adam da Asal. He says, "Because I'm the blood avenger of my brother Asael, and so therefore I had to kill the person who killed him, which was Avner." So the Gemara says that the Sanhedrin says, or Benayo said, Asael rodef Avner. Asael was trying to kill Avner, so Avner was justified in killing him. Amroi, no, no, Avner could have saved his life by just taking out one of the limbs of Asael. Amroi lo yachaway. He said, how could he be so precise that he just take out one of his limbs? Amroi, no, Avner could have done it because he was a marksman, because he knocked out his Dofen Chamishis, his very precise point on the rib. That where you would kill him. And it says, "Vayakel Avner." So we know that he had very good precision with the spear. So therefore, he could have just disabled Asal without killing him. What does this mean? The place of the gallbladder and the liver. So he could have got it. So therefore, of course, he could have gotten him with one of his limbs. So Amroi Nezel Avner. So Benayo and the Sanhedrin said, "Okay, let's leave aside Avner. My time a katalta Amasa. Why did you kill Amasa?" So Amroi. So Yoav says the reason why I killed Amasa was Nori b'malchus Ava. He rebelled against the king. And David said to Amasa, "Gather for me the men of Judah in 3 days." And Amasa went and he delayed. So because he delayed, therefore I killed Amasa. Amasa Achim Merakin Darish. So Benayo said, "No, Amasa was darshing in the Torah." Because it says Acharach, so meaning to say, Rashi explains Achim Merakin darshan from the Torah, that since they were, it says Rak, Chazak ve'amatz, and it says that this means that if the king came, take people from Torah study, you're not supposed to listen. To go into the army, you're not supposed to listen. So therefore, Ashkechinu, because Avner found that Amasa that Yoav found Amasa that the pasuk b'Mesach they was studying Torah. Amar K'tiv kol ish asher yimerez bicha v'lo yishmas tvarecha v'chol asher tetzaveni yumas. It says in the pasuk, anybody who won't listen to you will be put to death. Yachol, I might think afilu divrei Torah. I might think even if the person is not listening to the king because he's studying Torah. No, but not if he's a Torah scholar, not if he's studying Torah, then he doesn't have to listen to the king. So therefore, for this reason, Yoav killed Amasa. So therefore, the Gemara says that Benio, why did he kill Yoav? Because Yoav was rebelling against the king. Yoav. Ki Yoav nata achrei Adoniyav achrei Avshalom. the matter came to Yoav, and Yoav heard about it and Yoav had gone after Adoniyahu. He didn't listen to Shlomo. He went to the wrong camp. But after Avshalom, he did not go. What does it mean, Ma'alonatai, that he didn't go after Avshalom? Amar Rav Yehuda, Shebikesh Lantos. He really wanted to follow Avshalom, but in the end, he didn't. My time, why did he not follow Avshalom? Because he saw that David wasn't finished yet. He had some spirit to him. So Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina Amar Adayin, it's the Agnine Shal David Kayamin. No, that he saw that David's spirit, that Bali Agrofim Shal Rashi says the armed forces of David were still strong, and that's how David was fighting. And so therefore Rashi says that it's Tagninus in the Talmud means mazolos, that the constellations. And David's force is called like the constellation because David was relying on them, and he was following them. So we saw that David still had his army. David had 400 men. They were all the children of women captured in battle. And they all grew their hairs in this menacing manner, the way idolaters did. They were the vanguard. They were David's commandos. So that's why Yoav didn't follow after Avshalom. We saw David still had his men. In this position that says that David's main fight was through these Bali Agrofim, that argues to Rabbi Abba Bar Chanina, because Rabbi Abba Chanina said, "Amali David was a Yoav Milchama, Amali Yoav was a David b'Torah." That he's basically saying that David wasn't relying upon these Bali Agrofim, but he was relying upon Yoav. But he says, "We're not for Yoav. Amali Yoav, David, Amali David." Well, say Yoav Milchama. We're not for David. Yoav would not have been able to do a war, and we're not for Yoav. They would not be able to study Torah, because it says David osa mishpat tzedakah cho'amo, because it says David did justice and righteousness for his people. But Yoav ben Tzruya atzava, and Yoav ben Tzruya was in charge of the army. Matam David osa mishpat tzedakah cho'amo. Why was David able to do justice and righteousness? Because mishum de Yoav atzava, because Yoav was over the army. Matam Yoav atzava. What's the reason why Yoav was on the army? Mishum de David osa mishpat tzedakah cho'amo, because David was able to do righteous. And so therefore they were partners, and Yoav's ability to fight was what gave David the ability to do justice and righteousness. It says, "Vayetze Yoav me'em David vayishlach malchem achrei Avner." So the Gemara says, what caused Avner to be killed? Because Yoav killed Avner. So it says, what's the pasuk? It says Yoav went out from David, and he sent messengers after Avner, and they vayishivo somi boras sirah. They brought him back from the Borasira. My Borasira, Amrav Kahana, Borasira Garmo Avner Shiarig. That the pit and the thorn caused Avner to be killed. And Rashi says, what does this mean, the pit and the thorn? That there was basically a pit of water, that this refers to a flask of water that David took when Shaul was sleeping in the camp. David went up and took a flask of Shaul's water. And so everybody was very impressed that David said to Shaul's guards, "You didn't keep watching properly. Look where I took his flask of water." So Avner could have said, "Look how much of a tzaddik David is," but he didn't do that. He said maybe one of the army gave it to him. Excuse me. And what is the thorn? When David cut off the corner of Shaul's garment, it says when Shaul went to go to the bathroom in the cave, Avner could have said, "Look how kind he is," but instead he said, "Maybe you cut your garment on a bush." So how did Yoav kill Avner? He brought him into the gate to speak with him secretly. That he acted like the court. My time he said to Yoav said to Avner, "Why did you kill Asael?" So Avner said, "Asael rode if he was trying to kill me." He says, "You should have saved yourself from one of his limbs." He says, "He said, I couldn't." He said, "What are you talking about? You were able to get the precise point when you killed him on his fifth rib." So you couldn't kill him. You couldn't stab him with one of his limbs. What does it mean like that? Very Toba Shali. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Al Iske Shalu. He said, I have a question for you about the chalitza. Shalna raglachot. Remove the shoe from your shalna me'al raglecha. Remove your shoe. So basically, he asked him about the idea of shalna lecha. That he says he wanted to ask him about the shoe. Hey, what did he ask him about the shoe? He said, so Sham Ela Chomesh. Amar Rav Yochanan Medov Chamishas Makom Shemara v'Kaved Tuyim, the place where the liver and the gallbladder are hanging from. What did he ask him about the shoe about chalitza? Rashi says he asked him craftily. He says a woman who's the Avama who has no hands, how does she do the chalitza? So Avner began to bend down to show him, and when he did that, Yoav took out his sword and killed him. So it says in the pasuk that Shlomo Melech said to Benayu ben Yehoiada when he went out to kill Yoav, he said Hashem should bring his blood on his head because he killed two men who are righteous and better than him. Tovim, and who are these two men who he killed? Who are these two men? It says Tovim Shayu Darshan Achim Arakim, because they were darshaning Achim Arakim to say that they didn't have to listen to the Torah, and that we said was that they didn't have to listen to the king, and that was Asael. V'hu Darash and Tzadikin Shehim Bepeh V'lo Asu V'hu Bigeret V'asa, because they heard a command with the voice, but they didn't do it. And because they thought it was improper, and this was the idea of Amasa that he was commanded to kill the Kohanim of Nov, and he didn't listen to them, and also Avner. Whereas Yoav, he heard the command from David to kill Uriah with a letter, and he did it. Vigeret v'asa. Amasa lo nishmar b'char v'asher b'yad Yoav, and it says that Amasa was not protected by the sword that was in the hands of Yoav. Amarav shelo chashadu. He didn't guard himself from the sword of Yoav. He didn't suspect him. He didn't suspect him. And so Yoav was able to kill Amasa, and also he killed Amasa because he didn't suspect him, and he killed Avner by tricking him. It says that after Yoav was killed, he was buried in his house in the wilderness. To base of Midbar, who was his house really wilderness? We say Ka Midbar, that it was like a wilderness. Ma Midbar Mufkol Kol, just like a wilderness, anybody could go there. Its house was open to all the poor people to come and benefit from. Alternatively, Ka Midbar. It's just like a wilderness is free of theft and adultery. Also, Yoav's house is free from theft and adultery. And Yoav supported the rest of the city. Even small fish that Yoav was tasting, he would give them a portion to the poor people of the city. We will return to this beautiful chapter called Nigmar Adin. And now we go to the next chapter. In the previous chapter, we discussed the stoning, which is one of the four types of death that the court enforces. And so now we're going to talk about the other executions that the court does. Harba misos nimsaru bezin. There are four types of death that were given over to the court, and these are the four types of death: skila, sreifa, harag, and chanek. Stoning, burning, decapitation, and strangulation. Rabbi Shimon Omer sreifa, skila, chanek, harag. Rabbi Shimon doesn't have skila as the most severe; he has sreifa, burning, not stoning, but he just switches the order of burning and stoning, and then he also switches the order of decapitation and strangulation. he has strangulation and then decapitation, whereas the Chachamim had decapitation and then strangulation. So is this list? Obviously, the list makes a difference because, or else why would they list it differently? And and then the last on the Mishnah, this death that was execution that was described in the previous chapter is mitzvahs on a skull. That previously we had discussed the mitzvah of those stoned, and now we're going to talk about the other executions. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Tzora, Amar Rav Huna, Mikol Makom, Kol Makom Sheshanu Chachamim Derech Minyan. Whenever the rabbis have a list in the Mishnah, they're not exacting about it. Chutz mi Shivas Tamanin, with the exception of what we learned in Maseches Nida, where the Chachamim list the 7 agents that are cleansing agents that are used to get rid of a stain, and if it gets rid of it, we know that it's the stain called dam, it's blood, but those things have to be done specifically in order. The Tanam, because it says Shiva Simanin Mavir Al Kesem, that after a woman finds a stain on her garment to check if it's the blood of a nida, which will be prohibited, or anything she touched will be tamei. So therefore, we put these 7 cleansing agents on it. And what are they? Rok tafel, that's spit from a mouth that has not tasted anything that day. And may grisim, this is the chewed up beans, the spit of a person after he chews up beans. May raglayim, urine. Neter, this is something that comes from the ground. Boris, this is a type of weed that has like a cleansing agent. Camellia is a type of weed that you grind it up and then you use it to clean your hands. And ashlag, this is something that's found basically in the ocean. Vikatani seifa. And then it says, "Avirin shlokasidron or shavirin shavasan ke'echad lost of klum." It has to be done in order. And we see from here that that's what's done in order. Rav Papa Saba added on also our Mishnah. Rav Papa Saba Rav Amar Av Arba Misos, also our Mishnah. They have to be done in order. I mean, the Kapolig Rav Shimon. In fact, Rav Shimon argues clearly there's a precise order. Shmamina Davka Katani. And it's specific. And so the Gemara says, we haven't seen the nafkamina yet. What do we care which order? But anyway, right now they say that the order is precise. V'idach b'pultolo kamari. Whereas Rav Schora didn't say that our Mishnah is different. He says it's obviously the case because there's a dispute. So it's obviously not included. Rav Papa Amar, Rav Papa added another category. Av Seder Yoma, also the order of Yom Kippur, the service of Yom Kippur. Mitzachas Yoma, that needs to be done in order. The Tinan Komasi Yom Kippur Ma'amurim, Ala Seder, Emektim Ma'isach Chaver Wasolokum. If you do the Yom Kippur service out of order, the service doesn't count. You have to redo it. The Idach, whereas Rav Schora and Papa, Rav Papa Saba did not include this. I said, no, that's just a stringency. It really doesn't need to be done in order of the service. Rav Amar, he adds another one. Av Seder Tamid. Also the order of the carbon Tamid. The Gatani Allah Zel Seder Tamid. This is the order of the carbon Tamid. The Idach, whereas Rav Papa didn't want to include this in, it says, and on the other, didn't want to include this, he says, oh, mitzvah the alma. So that's just ideal. You get a mitzvah, but it's not required. And all of these positions are saying that the chalitza does not need to be in order. The Tanam, because we learned in the Mishnah Yevamos, mitzvah is chalitza. How does the chalitza work? And the man comes with the woman who is Yevama to the court. They speak to him and they give him good advice to tell him what to do. And as it says, Vikaro Zigno Iro Vidibru Elam. They spoke to him and they told him you should only marry her. She's appropriate for you. She says he doesn't want to marry me. He says, I don't want to take her. And they speak these words in Hebrew. And she removes his shoe, she spits, and they have to see the saliva. And then the court responds. So, and Rav Yehuda says, how do we do this chalitza? She reads the verses and then he reads. Choleta, she removes his shoe, virokekes, she spits on the ground, vikora, and then she chants, Vavinam ba My Kamash one, and we say, what's his teaching us? What's Rav Yehuda teaching us? Masnitzini, isn't this the Mishnah? So he says, Kamash one mitzvah. Rav Yehuda is saying that it's just a mitzvah to do this, not required. If he didn't do it exactly like that, there's no problem with it. We also learned this in the Brayta. So whether you put the chalitza before the spitting or rakika or chalitza, machasa. So it doesn't. If you just put the saliva, the spitting before the removal of the shul, or vice versa, it's done. And this idea is coming to exclude what we're going to a different Mishnah. In Yoma, Kohen Gadol Meshamesh B'Shmona Kelim Ve'edju Ba'arba. The Kohen Gadol wears 8 garments, and the regular 8 garments, and the regular Kohen wears 4. What is the regular? And what are them? The Ksones, the Mechnasayim, the Mitznefes, and the Avneit. The regular Kohen wears a tunic, the breeches, the turban, and the belt. Mostly in Kohen Gadol, the Kohen Gadol adds on Choshen, Ephod, Me'il, Mitzit, the breastplate, the robe, the apron, and the forehead plate. And how do we know that nothing can come before the pants? As it says, you have the sorrow. So we see that the Mishnah did not write in order, just the opposite. There's a different order than the Mishnah. Vitana, my time why did he list the ketones before the breeches? That's not the way you get dressed. The Gemara says Mishum the because the pasuk listed the ketones before the breeches, and so therefore it came first. So the Gemara says, "Ukra my time after. Why did the pasuk write the breeches, the tunic before the breeches? Mishum the mechasia kula gufa difai. Torah didn't want going to be standing there without anything on, just the breeches, so they put the tunic first. And then it said in the Mishnah, skila and then sreifa, that the rabbis learned that skila was more severe than burning. Skila chamura mitzreifa. The stoning is more severe penalty than burning. Shekain nisno and megadev, because we give it to the one who curses God, and also oved avodas galulim, and also the one who's the idolater. And what is its stringency? Shekain poshet yado beikar, that person attacked the essential essence, which is God. And so this is the most severe stringency. Also, the punishment that's given to them is the most severe. And so that proves that stoning is more severe. Whereas the Gemara is going to ask, well, maybe burning is more severe. Adu Abba. This know about Kohen Shazimta because we give it to a daughter of a Kohen who was adulterous. And what is the Trinity? She came that from the moment she was adulterous, she disparages her father. And so therefore, the burning is the most severe. The Savi Rabbanan, the Sui Otso Esreifa Vo Arusa. The Avki Rachmano Arusa Beskila Shmamina Skila Hamura. So the Gemara says that the Rabbanan are in the position that stoning is more severe than burning, because the rabbis are in the position that the Kohen, if she's fully married, she goes and gets burned, but not if she's just betrothed. Because since with respect to a Nesua, Shazinta, a regular Israelite gets strangulation, so therefore the Bas Kohen is going to get burning. But with respect to Arusa, since a regular Israelite woman gets stoning, so therefore she has to get at least stoning. And from the fact that the Torah says that the Arusa is different than the Nesua, Beskila with stoning, Shmamina Skila Chamura. That proves that stoning is more severe. And so that's the Gemara's ultimate proof. So, okay, let's stop here. I will pick this up at 8 o'clock and again tomorrow. Shkoyach.